Soraya. How's it going?
All right. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good. My mind is still blown. We just got off of a conversation, got off a Zoom conversation with Howie Pyro and Jeff McDonald.
I still can't believe that.
So we wanted to find out more about Bill Bartell, Pat
Yeah.
Fear, and it. These were some I'd say close friends of Bill's that knew a little bit about him, and as our listeners will hear, that's saying something about this enigma of a man.
Oh my gosh. Jeff and I are still kind of staring at each other going, all right, there's a lot more to this. There's
But
just a lot more.
yeah, but this conversation that you as listeners will be hearing, there's some amazing stories, some
Yes.
hilarious stories, some very, at least one or two very unusual things that happened that my mind is still
Yes.
blown. Like, just how these things happened is just incredible. And unfortunately, it looked like the first minute or two of the conversation didn't get recorded.
He
uh,
had some technical issues going
yeah,
on.
yeah, we had some Zoom issues. I think it's primarily my fault with a wrong invite. Whatever, we got it all sorted out. We got those guys on to talk, but uh, just so our listeners know a little bit about who we're talking to, coming up here, Howie Pyro, founding member of The Blessed and D-Generation, some early punk rock bands of the mid to late 70s. Howie played with Danzig, the
Yeah.
band Danzig, on bass, toured with them. He was a personal friend of the Sex Pistols, Sid Vicious.
Yep.
Spent a lot of time with them. He was living in New York, so he was in some of those seminal clubs, hanging around some of those seminal clubs with CBGBs, Max's Kansas City. He was a DJ for Intoxica Radio on a Luxuria.
Mm-hmm.
Soraya, you and I met because of Luxuria Radio, internet radio. So
Yes.
there's that tie there. Howie also does or did a YouTube uh, little video mini series, I guess you would call it, called Howie Pyro Sick World, where he shares some stuff in his room and his collection, some really cool things. And he's worked with Joey Ramone. He's worked with Genesis Peorage, and if you listen to the very end or watch till the very end, if you're watching the video, you'll even see a tattoo that the front man, um, uh, Genesis had a transition, but at the time, he was a man, and he put this tattoo on Howie. And Genesis was the front man for Psychic TV, a band that put out an album called Dreams Less Sweet, one of my favorite all-time albums, definitely in my top 100. And then also Jeff McDonald from Red Kross. And I had mentioned it on the original intro that got cut off, but we had Ella, Carrie Pearson, on our episode 45 talking about Red Kross's album Beyond the Door that we reviewed, which is an amazing album. And the Red Kross has a documentary that's coming out. There's a Kickstarter campaign.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're calling it Born Innocent, the Red Kross story. And Jeff shared a little bit about that it's in the works. We're not sure when that will get released, but there is that Kickstarter campaign to get this documentary released. But anyways, these two guys were a lot of fun and shared some great stories. So I hope you all enjoy it. And, I'm still blown away. I'm not sure about you, Soraya.
I mean, Jeff and I are trying to land at this point. Like, we were just, it was a pretty surreal hour and a half talking with these two people. One that have like just a wealth of information about Bill Bartell, but two are like super engaging and funny. And I think their observations are just really thoughtful, well-founded, and come from a place of true friendship, with Bill.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Howie gave us, I think, the best piece of advice at the very beginning, which you'll hear. He says, anytime you hear a band's title of a band's album, take that title, type it in Google, find out what it's really about.
Yes.
And yeah, so I'm still thinking about that.
Yeah.
A lot of titles I gotta put through the Google.
Right.
But you're gonna enjoy this episode and hear a lot of stories, and we hope you enjoyed as much as we did.
Yes, let's get started.
Sounds good. Hi, this is Soraya.
And this is Jeff.
Our podcast is called Paisley Stage Raspberry and Rhyme,
a podcast where the two of us play music that we like and share anecdotes and background about the tunes.
We hope you'll join our conversation. And without further ado, a grooviar.
Let's get groovy.
Put them on my head and played Os Mutantes to me, which
for the first time.
Yeah, which I had never heard, and it completely blew my mind, and it was one of the most insane things ever. And then it went from there. So how did you meet Bill?
Yeah.
Jeff?
Well, do you remember in those pre-internet days, the telephone was the way that people would chat? And I guess Bill got our phone number, or my parents' phone number, from someone. You just start calling. We had so many, like, punk rock and Kiss in common. So, but like Howie said, it was just these insane phone bills. I mean, I lived in Hawthorne, California, and he was in Marina Valley, which is San Bernardino, Riverside area. And, it's only an hour away, but my phone bills would be like $150 a month. My parents would go ballistic. And it was just ridiculous. But we talked on the phone all the time, and that's how we kind of, and then Bill took us to, me and my friends, to Kiss's Creatures of the Night record release party at the Zoetrope Studios.
What?
Yes. And it was like this, I guess Kiss was really scraping bottom at the time, and they had set up their stage set for the Creatures of the Night tour. And they were doing a press conference, but they only had, all the press was fake because they didn't want anyone asking them any hard questions. It was very kind of Trumpian in that sense. And
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, but Bill was pretending to be a press officer, asking them why records like Unmasked have been out of print, and just kind of blowing the lid off a lot of their mythology, and they were getting shifty and really uncomfortable. And it was just, it was weird. It was just, I'd never seen anyone be so confrontational to someone that they loved so much. But he was humiliating Kiss
in itself
on stage.
MO right there.
Yeah, totally humiliating them on stage, and they got out of there very quickly. They stuck around for like 10 minutes.
Wow.
How can we go from there, fast forwarding even into the 90s, when Bill jumped from the Melvins bus to my band's bus on the Kiss tour?
Well, tell them.
Well, I know, but everything in between, it's too much.
Well, it should be like a Quentin Tarantino movie, like non-linear, like Pulp Fiction, just run all over, back and forth.
Right.
We're here for it.
Bill's Christmas card one year, which is still on my fridge, is the greatest photo of him pretending to be Paul Stanley's bodyguard. And he's like pushing these people with cameras to the side and letting Paul Stanley through. It's the greatest photo ever. And he used it as his Christmas card. But, when Kiss put the makeup back on in 96 was when my band Degeneration was at our most popular. And we got more, luckily or unluckily for us, we got kicked off the tour the first day of the tour. But then we got put back. So, because we had when we played in small clubs, we did the Alice Cooper trick of, but instead of with feathers, we would rip up like 500 newspapers that we would steal, and to have our roadies had to do it all day long and put them in giant bags, and Jesse would let them all fly everywhere, and they would fill an entire club like CBGB's. So Jesse thought it would be funny to do it in a place like Madison Square Garden, where it would just be like a, you know, as a joke, but then everything went in their pyro, and we're all through every part of the stage, and we really fucked them up bad. So, but we had more dates than anyone else, so we were following the Melvins. So, of course, Bill is best friends with the Melvins, and he invited himself on their tour bus for the entire 10 days or whatever that they were playing with Kiss, and we happened to be following them. So Bill was like, this is going to be genius. Like you could see gears just running through his head and his sweaty cowboy hat head. And he literally got off their bus and ran on our bus and couldn't wait to show his face to Gene and Paul at this next sound check. Where
to torture them.
Yeah, where he claimed, he went in and he claimed that Gene referred to Paul as her to the soundman when they were doing sound check, which I always liked.
I can somehow.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I said I could totally imagine that happening.
Well, I remember Sean Lennon came to one of the shows that Bill was at, and Sean didn't know that Bill already had been around Kiss, and he tried to introduce Paul to Bill, and Paul was like, Bill Bartell, that tired thing, something like that, along those lines.
Woo!
That is hilarious. So
that was a Cookie Mueller line from Female Trouble.
Right.
So how strong was Bill's love for Kiss? Was he totally fanatical?
Yeah.
Sadomasochistic, because he hated them for years. Yeah, but he hated them for years during the makeupless period, but he still would like talk all of his friends into going all the way to the San Bernardino Swing Auditorium to see all their like Animalized concerts and what was Asylum tours.
So he could yell stuff at them.
Revenge.
Yeah.
Bill's the only person who saw, there was a show and Paul Stanley had a heart attack, I think.
Oh,
and he had to go to the hospital, and Gene is so cheap that they did the show anyway without Paul, and it was like a small promotional sort of show in Las Vegas, and Bill's one of the only people like that anyone knows on earth that saw Kiss without Paul Stanley.
Yeah, the three-piece.
Yeah.
But I remember him having, he shot the video of that, and we were in line for Paul McCartney at Amoeba Records, and he was trying to figure out how he can sell it to the press.
I didn't even know that show happened without Paul.
Yeah, Paul had I don't know, was it a heart attack or an extreme heart murmur situation?
Something happened, an emergency, and he was in the hospital.
Wow.
They didn't cancel.
Yeah,
Power Trio.
Couldn't cancel because of the money.
Power Trio.
Like Rush without the
Right.
R or the U or the S or the H.
Well, there's one S.
Oh, just one S, yeah. You know what that stood for. Shit. Is this going to be like the Bill Grundy show now?
Well, you know what's weird? That makes me think of torturing Paul Stanley. I personally I would just be a horrified observer in these situations. But I remember we went to Bogart's, which is a small club in Long Beach, California, and and Paul Stanley's solo was playing, and of course, Bill was trying to throw gum into his hair while he was performing. And kept calling him Pat Stanley.
I was digging
horrified,
around,
but said nothing. What?
I was digging around yesterday for these answering machine tapes, and I have, cassette tapes, right? they're under at the very bottom of everything. And for you guys and anyone in the world who doesn't know, I probably have like 30,000 records and so much stuff. There was a little one of those cassette boxes, and I opened it up, and it's Bill's inside, a picture of him on the top of the inside of the box, and it just says "Ha," but it must have said Chariot, but it just happens that it says "Ha" from Chariot underneath, and then I was like, oh my God, he's
From beyond
he's showing
the
his
door.
face, yeah, way beyond the door, and and I found these cassettes that are insane of Bill trying out for public image.
What?
What
That's
period
just
public
one of
image
them.
was this?
Huh? Pill and Bill, it says.
Bill. Oh my God.
Yeah. One of them is called, and he had a band called Cahuenga that also made a movie, I think maybe before Love Dolls, which I have, the only copy of.
That was like a Native American tale of the Morongo Valley native tribe, right?
Merino.
Marina.
Morongo is a different tribe.
Morongo is the actual
That's the gambling
casino. Yeah.
place, yeah. This tape says more annoying stuff from Bill in his handwriting. What does that say? Weirdness from Bill's youth, 77 to 80.
Wow.
Tater Tots, Pink Floyd. Why?
Breadcrumbs.
And then 77 to 79 from Bill's youth.
So Howie, you have all these tapes. How did you acquire these? Did he gift these to you?
He would just send me stuff endlessly. He's crazy.
Yeah, like mixtapes with a few of his songs sprinkled in.
Well, we all made tapes.
Yeah.
That's what people did back then. When you make mixtapes for your friends, just like
telephone and
cassettes.
And mixtapes.
Yeah, everyone made mixtapes, and they gave them as gifts and traded them, and had little secret. I mean, you could do anything on a cassette tape. You know what I mean? So they could get real funny and personal.
And go kind of viral too.
Yeah, there's tapes out there that like everyone has a copy of on Earth. That's our age.
That is very true.
And so the stuff goes so deep and so far. I mean, Bill's sister, who
whom none of us had met until after Bill passed away. We had never met any of his.
And she was nice for about one day and then became a complete creep.
Whoa. I don't know this tale.
I wanted to help sort his stuff out so it wouldn't go in the garbage, because everything he owned was worth, that looks like garbage, could be a Nirvana set list or whatever, that could be worth $1 zillion. So I tried to explain this to them, and then one of them has a kid whose name is Bartell.
The name is Bartell.
Oh, don't
Well,
even.
yeah.
Okay,
last
I
name.
won't. I won't ask how.
It's not Bartell. Bartell.
Okay.
Bartell Cope, his name is actually, but he and he was hip right? And he found out about Bill, and he got all into Bill when he died. And he was on my side and everything, but then the family flipped their lid and started fighting over all the stuff, and then nobody heard from them again, and they were forbidden to talk to any of Bill's friends. And Bill had my laptop, so I just wanted my laptop back, you know, because his broke and I loaned him one. But God only knows. Anyway, sensitive. But his sister bought a weird record. She was an exchange student in Brazil in 1967. And she came home from Brazil with this Os Mutantes record, which people usually call Os Mutantes. But yeah. But so, and it is the most genius record, and it was Bill's entire life purpose for a very long time to alert the world about this, to the point where, I mean, they were as big as the Beatles in Brazil. And Rita Lee, who was the singer, was like a modern day, I don't know, Pat Benatar or something at that time in the 80s. She was like the biggest star still. So, I mean, Bill's little tape putting on people's heads led all the way over years of time to Brazil, to their reunion, which they have said in their own words, you know, like it's all because of Bill. And stuff like, I got them, you know, they played at his memorial. It's insane, you know, how crazy that is, and how much they know they owe to him, which only Bill could do. I have messages, answering machine messages from Bill in Brazil in their rehearsal room, going like, oh yeah, you know, like, and of course, then I played it for some guy who knew Mr. Know-It-All, I'll call him, and he released it because it was the only thing he had never heard of in his whole life, supposedly. And I begged him, and he thanked me, and he didn't thank Bill, and it was so horrible. But that was the first release in America on other music, and then, you know, David Byrne found out about it, and he released it, and blah blah blah. It got huge, and they played. Bill took me on stage with him when they played at the Hollywood Bowl, opening for the Flaming Lips. I mean, it was just, this thing went so far. And, you know, they were genius. It was illegal to play music in Brazil in the 60s at that time. You'd get arrested. And they built, you couldn't buy a guitar, you couldn't buy anything. And they built everything just by listening to records by the Beatles and the Stones and whoever. And they, you know, the sound on the Os Mutantes guitar, you know, like Sergio built the guitar, and we looked inside, he showed us how it works. It breaks every single night. He still uses it, but he has to fix it every day. And it's got a sewing bobbin inside the guitar that makes a tremolo. Like, that's how he figured out how to go, you know, like on the Bat Macumba. And you know, just crazy stuff, you know, like they're all the effects, all the stuff is built by hand, just genius. And there's so much with that, it's just endless. But Bill had the power, you know. He dropped that same Walkman on everyone from Thurston Moore to, you know, I'm sure Jeff heard it first because
yeah. Well, I remember that record eventually got to the point where Kurt Cobain was name checking them in Brazil.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. If you go on YouTube, you can see the interview with Kurt going, I have a friend named Bill. He has a mustache. And he draws a picture of Bill, and he holds it up. And he goes, and I want to find, and then he goes, Sergio Baptista and Rita Lee, and he says all their names like he's announcing it or something. He goes, "Os mutantes, I want to see them play," and all of this stuff just snowballed into, changing. Their first gig, there was 1 million people there.
Wow.
The first Nirvana gig.
No, the first
Os
Mutantes reunion show.
Oh my God.
It was during I don't know what festival, but it was it was literally 1 million people there. And that's Bill
This
in
is
Moreno Valley.
this is the thing that I think Jeff and we reflect on, because so many people that we've had on our podcast have talked about Bill Bartell, the impact of Bill Bartell, or these moments of contact, like putting on the Walkman headset and boom, here, this is something that you're gonna love, and don't worry about it. How does he, you said this is him in essence. How does he get people to do it and to share in that vision? Because Tater Tots for me was that moment where, wait, he just said, let's just go on, no rehearsal, Beatle Fest, let's go.
That was great.
That's probably one of the greatest things that ever happened in the history.
Yeah, and it's also, there's a prankster mentality that all of us, the little friend group, shared. It was just kind of who can outdo the next guy? And Bill getting, where did he find Jimmy McNichol to be in that?
I don't know.
I mean,
someone always knows someone,
Or Jimmy McNichol might have been at Beatle Fest and Bill just wrangled him up and got him on stage. But Bill, that kind of stuff was not, it was a lot of spontaneous eruptions happening.
Yeah, Bill and Tuesday planting Yoko Ono heads in Nikki Sixx's front yard in the middle of the night and putting signs up all over that neighborhood that there's a yard sale.
All in the name of that. There was a picture of Yoko from the Grapefruit record, which was kind of the logo for Tater Tots.
Yeah,
so they had made these popsicle stick masks out of them.
Yeah, and they planted 1,000 of them in Nikki Sixx's front yard into the ground.
So it's performance art, it's prankster pop culture.
I can't wait to tell Nikki Sixx that story one day.
If you're gonna torture someone, you might as well just have a fake garage sale. That's harmless.
Yeah, that's so great.
What would be his motivation in these? Is he just having a good time? What do you think?
Performance art.
Cause confusion within performance art.
Yeah, and just prankster performance art, one-upsmanship. I think in a way it's a lot of misguided. I know I suffered from it too. A lot of misdirected creative energy being used for evil instead of good. We all should have been making records and making films, but instead we were calling Courtney Love and Nikki Sixx.
Yeah, but it's a continuation of the fascination of teenagerhood, which in most cases I would say keeps you young, but I guess not in Bill's case, but it's a endless juvenile delinquent mode, but it's also showing people who think they have power who's in charge. Bill is
challenging their power.
Yeah, I saw that, Jeff.
What was that?
Smoke coming out of your face.
It must be cold where Jeff lives.
It is. It's freezing cold
it's
here.
Freezing.
So I had a question for Jeff. This isn't the original cover, but this album, Teen Babes from Monsanto, from the Red
Monsanto.
Monsanto, right? Monsanto.
Right.
So,
Monsanto.
originally released on Gasatanka Records, right? Is that correct?
Right.
Bill's label. So
Yeah,
did
we
he,
did. I don't know if that was maybe his second record that he put out on Gasatenka, but yeah, we wanted to do a self-release record that no one would put a record out by us. No one, not like Frontier wouldn't put records out, none of the local labels. So we just did it with Bill. Figured it would just be fun. And at the time, no one had done. I mean, the only people who'd ever done tribute records were like David Bowie and Laura Nyro, and so it was kind of an original idea at the time. And yeah, it was just a fun times.
But it also led people like us to you.
Yeah, well, I think that the
that
point of a record
traveled like the most Mutantes.
Yeah, you find like-minded people through like your taste in music, and so yeah, it was about sending special messages out to people that you didn't know yet.
And we, charged your dressing room like, we have to know you,
I know, and we're all friends. Everyone I met during that period with that record, I'm still friends with today.
And that was what, 40 years ago?
It was 84, I think. I'm bad with that, but it was either recorded in 84 and released in 85. I think it was 84.
Yeah, it's listed as a 84 release date.
Right. But so, that's how you did it then. I mean, like we were talking about Os Mutantes tape. So that's like, that became viral, and then sending out secret coded messages out to, potential friends through your records. And, we had to be so creative in those days to communicate and find people, that were like-minded.
But there's also, and then after he had a little success with Os Mutantes, which was never enough for Bill, he discovered Shonen Knife, which was another sort of.
He put them on the map too. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a big revelation to experience that.
I turned him on to Shonen Knife, but he did all of the work. I just sat back and watched, and and firmly got those guys established. I mean, they still tour the world today and much beloved.
Yeah, and it's all because of Bill.
But it's like some people don't have that money making gene. It's like they're all the creativity in the world, just do all this revolutionary stuff, but like don't know how to turn it into a business. Which, I don't fault him because I suffered from the same thing, but it's, just another personality trait.
Except for they thought they were a pop group and Bill thought they were this absurd, bizarre thing that he, just was like, what are they?
They were in on their own bizarrety. You saw those original videos.
I guess so, but they were trying to be quirky and 60s, but I don't think they realized how that, at first people laughed,
right,
which is fine, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then people went, oh, wait a minute, this is really good. And
yeah, they took the ball and went with it. But they remember they used to say,
and then they hated Bill and never talked to him again.
Yeah, but because they were stolen from him, from a guy whose claim to fame that he was in the Quick for 5 minutes. Oh. Which I had not been able to confirm, even though I know members of the Quick, even though I'm an honorary member of the Quick. But I digress. No, but the thing that was funny about Shonen Knife is, so after I contacted them after I saw this video compilation of theirs, and they came out on a vacation, and then Bill kind of became their manager automatically, and we put them on stage with us at the Roxy. But they would always say, no, Shonen Knife is only hobby. It's only hobby. So, 30 years later.
Yeah.
And then they write a song called Red Kross. Red Kross writes a song called Shonen Knife.
Yeah. And they used to call Bill Devil Bill.
So that is very telling right there.
Yeah.
Devil Bill.
Yeah.
See, I find that fascinating. They say, oh no, only hobby and Bill. No.
No, yeah. Always looking for the next big, weird, big thing.
He went on tour with them. He showed up with them in New York, and we were just like, No
What about the
way.
Shags? The Shags is
Oh my
another
God.
thing.
I taped
Like
it.
he took
I have
the Shag. We love the Shags. I mean, Howie separately from me, and I had that record forever, and I loved it. And it was a small base of people who worshipped the Shags, like literally worshiped them. But of course, he gets in there with them. He's
yeah.
backstage talking to them.
I mean, okay, so the Shags, their father, you know, forced them to be a band because he was trying to get famous and rich.
The great Austin Wiggin.
Yes, whose business card I own, and he you know, tortured them, and this all came out later, of course, and forced them to be a band, and they couldn't really understand how to play, so they went into this autistic sort of ingenious mode of inventing a new form of music
Which
that
had never
never
been heard
existed
before.
or since, and
Since.
and they made a record that was endlessly like called the worst record ever made, which you know means it's great.
So I
just
don't
like
take anyone serious. If yeah,
like an
somebody
Ed Wood
says,
movie,
"Oh, the
you know,
Shags
which
is," yeah,
you
well,
can
I would
watch
never.
an
I
Ed
don't
Wood
take anyone
movie 50
seriously.
times because they're entertaining. They're actually good movies, you know. And that album is just a mind blower. So, this
Fast forward 30
there's a
years.
band called NRBQ, and they
Right.
reissued the album in 1980, and the entire punk world discovered it, and everyone. But you know how many people, you know, the people who liked it, you know, it was funny for a minute or whatever, but some people, you know, like us, totally worshipped it, you know. And
I know every single word, every single
yeah,
song.
so they played every Friday night in their local dance in the 60s. And kids stood there and threw garbage at them, and
in Rhode Island.
no, in
Freeport,
New Hampshire, maybe.
oh, right, New Hampshire.
Or up there,
Yeah.
and they were tortured by their father. They were tortured by all the kids. They were tortured by everyone, and the father died, and they put their stuff away, and they never played again after 1970 or something. So Frank Zappa had the album, of course, when it came out. He somehow got his hands on a copy, and he would bring it to radio stations when he would go on, and he would say, "This is the greatest. This is better than the Beatles," and he would play the Shags. And so NRBQ's, it was their 30th anniversary, and somehow they got the Shags to agree to play. And so Bill, who somehow, for someone who didn't have any money, always had the funds to just about go anywhere on earth at the drop of a dime. And he would say, "Sky Miles." But you know what, I don't know what that's code for, but but you know, Bill, he came and he stayed over, and we went to see the Shags, which was one of the most craziest days of my life ever. Like, and I have pictures of Bill and the Shags, and they went on first, and there was almost no one there. It was terrible. But they opened for Sun Ra.
Wow. That's
And I recorded all of this, right? Because these are the idols of NRBQ, this band that's been around forever. Like, and so I taped the show on this amazing recorder I have, and it's a really great tape. And I also taped the Shags and their mother watching Sun Ra, which was,
Their mother was still alive.
yeah.
I didn't get to go to that show. Oh, wow.
And then I had a I had a partial foot tattoo on my foot, sort of, that I had gotten like hand poked on by my friend who passed away. And it was so painful, I just told him to stop. So I had like a half of an outline of Foot, and I explained to Dot Wiggin what it was. And I had her draw the rest of it on. Oops. And I don't even know where it is. And let's see. And there it is. I can't make this happen.
Show and tell with Howie Pyro. Right?
My pal Foot.
And there's the Foot.
Hey now.
Woo! So, and I have pictures, and Bill is screaming. He's almost crying, like he's just standing in the middle of a dance floor there. He's the only person, or no one's near him, and he's just like holding his head and practically crying. It was just so amazing, and it really was amazing. And of course, Don Bowles was there. He was the only other, person we knew, and then miraculously, who played? Oh, and the Monks played the week later, and it was the first time they played in America, and they broke up in 1967 or whatever. And somehow Bill went home and came back, and was there for that too, which is probably the second most important.
Well, yeah, him like flying to gigs all the time was insane. Because I remember him telling me that when the Plastic Ono band did reunion shows like several years back, he went to Oklahoma City and ran into Sean on the street, and Sean invited them back to his mom's hotel room, and his mom bought everyone French fries and snacks.
That's so nice.
And I was like, I told Bill, I go, wow, Bill, you've made it. Like, you actually hung out in a hotel room with Yoko Ono. That's it. You've done everything you came here to achieve. He's like, yeah, that's true.
And then he died.
And then he died like a year later. Oh my God.
He really is the punk rock Zelig, just appearing in all these places where you would never imagine.
Well, the thing about Zelig, though, Zelig kind of was a ghostly figure. Bill would get on your last nerve. Like he would get in there with people and make you like drive you insane. Like it was just like,
Bill craved interaction.
Yeah, negative or positive. Like all of his friends had gone through long periods of time not speaking to him because of
including us,
gossip. But yeah, I mean, but he did. We think all of us, our close friends, we think about him all the time.
I realized this is how weird Bill is. And I say this from my heart, I really do, and I'm sure Jeff remembers. But I went to speak after going through all of this stuff, and after dealing with all of this, and helping put together this whole massive memorials and all these things. And at the actual memorial, the small one in the Club Nila in Northeast LA, Nila. I got on stage to say something like everyone was doing, and I cracked. I couldn't speak. I started crying my eyes out. I couldn't even, every time I started a word, I kept trying to talk, and I kept trying to talk, and I kept trying to talk, and I couldn't. And the grief was a kind of grief. I mean, I've lost my parents. I've lost, the love of my life. I've lost a million people, but I don't know what. But I realized on stage at his memorial that he was my best friend, which is a very weird thing. Like, usually who your best friends are, I mean? Like, but it just hit me so really hard, how important he was, and how much I cared for him, and I hated him so much.
That's what I was gonna say. I relate to that so totally. But yeah, but it's the same, the best friend that you would go months without speaking to because they pissed you off so much.
Yeah.
Or like,
And
like
he changed at the end.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
But yeah.
but Bill's, let's get into the mystery of Bill.
Please.
I've not cracked that one. I'm sorry.
No, but I mean,
mean,
just me and you know, we were going to hire a private detective. You remember this?
oh my God.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Because we desperately needed to know where he went.
Well, yeah, because he would compartmentalize. He would only tell some of our friends about certain aspects of his life and completely keep other people in the dark, and then share certain other things with other people. So no one really knew. We were all so confused. So, I mean, we, you know, to have.
But then there was like stuff he never told any of us.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, here's this person, like, he's like hanging, like when the cops are right against punk rockers, he's hanging out with the police. And then, you know, and, you know, they're harassing his friends. And then he becomes a cop and he's a school teacher and all this weird stuff. And he's just this freak. And we could, I mean, it was impossible.
He's riding a bull. He's
yeah, then the bull
riding a bull, and he has videos to prove it. And of course, there's a number 23 on his back, which is a whole nother thing. Bill, you got to understand something. You need to read Philip K. Dick, who is both of our favorite authors, me and Bill. Most any movie you've seen in the science fiction realm in the last 30 years was derived probably from a Philip K. Dick story. But Philip K. Dick was nuts, and there was a little pink beam of light that he thought followed him around, and you know, that he wrote a book called The Exegesis that's like 6,000 pages long. You know, like nobody's probably read it, but his regular books, they're really nuts. Like you don't they don't really come across in movies how incredible they are on paper. Like there's one movie about a guy who's a cop, and he has a scramble suit, it's called, and it changes his face every 2 seconds. So, and his whole visual, so that he can never be recognized. And he's assigned to get the huge drug dealer. And then at one point he realizes he's both of them. he's chasing stealth. He is it. And this is the kind of stuff that Bill's head totally tapped into. And as it turns out, you know, the last thing that ever happened, and this is totally as Philip K. Dick as you can get. I should probably save this for the end, but they were making the Germs movie, and Bill was there every day, as were all of the Germs that were alive, and lots of our old friends and all of those people. And I'm from New York, but I came out to LA in 1978 and was very close with all of those people and stayed close with them. So, you know, and I hadn't seen a lot of them in a long time, and blah, 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 blah. And then we all started hanging out, and I wound up being the fashion police for the movie, so that it would be in line with the year that it was being filmed. So, you know, they'd line everyone up, and I'd go down the line, and I'd be like, piercing out, you know, exploited jacket out, you know, like, you know, blah, 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 you know, these things didn't exist yet. Sorry, buddy, out, you know, like, and I would kick out the people. They hated me. And the last day I was at that time I was taking people out from a rehab, and you know, they can go out on a day pass with someone that the rehab trusts or whatever, and I would take people out and, you know, go to a movie or take them somewhere crazy if they were cool, you know. So there was a kid I was taking out from a rehab who was like the youngest, like a genius recording engineer, and he we stayed friends after, so I was really good friends with him, and he worked with Kiss, he worked with all these people. And I had two friends named Justin, and Bill dubbed them, there was the good Justin and the bad Justin, and this was the good Justin. And the good Justin got out of the rehab, and we stayed friends, and we started doing at that time mashups. This was like in the early 2000s. And because my brain is so full of music, I started creating these insane like collisions of music, and he would make them happen. I would just tell him. So I brought him with me on the last filming day, and Bill was like, never met him before. So Bill was totally being cool and really nice to him. And Bill dressed him up in Bill's teenage outfit that he wore for the Decline movie, in the orange shirt. You know, it's very famous. You can see it in the Decline of Western Civilization when the germs are playing, and Bill draws on his face, Darby's face, and blah, 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 blah. And that whole thing is recreated. So Bill dressed my friend Justin like Bill as a teenager in the exact real clothes that Bill wore. And then Bill now was in a police uniform. And at one point in the movie, Bill, the police officer, arrests Bill, the teenager. And I'm standing there like, I fully understand what's going on here. So Justin, in the midst of life in general, went awry and disappeared, and he died on the same day as Bill.
What?
Whoa.
And he only met Bill that one time, but the day before he died, he made his, and you can still see it, he made his profile picture on Facebook, the picture of him getting arrested by Bill, which stands forever as a bizarre, like, to me,
a lot of witchery.
there's so much in this. There's so much in this that I could do an interview just, what happened? Sorry. I could do an interview. Oh. Okay, there you are. I can do an interview just about that one thing for probably hours on end, like, and the all the depths of the weirdness of it all. But yeah, so to me, that's so the weirdest.
Yeah, so it goes deeper than just it's more witchy than ghostly. That's what I would say his existence was.
Yes. Much more.
So
but you know,
oh, go ahead.
Go on.
I was just gonna say, what about Bill, like, as a performer? So we haven't even talked about White Flag, right? So and White Flag.
He had to hold that one up.
That is the most disturbing picture.
What?
Amazing.
Bill is Melanie.
Yeah.
That's when Melanie and Kim weren't talking anymore. Of course, Bill wanted to get them.
Yeah, he thought that would make them friends.
Oh, God. I mean, it was Kim and Melanie weren't speaking at the time, briefly. Bill was speaking to everyone.
But in this particular picture, Bill is Melanie, right?
Yeah, he's Melanie in that picture. That was just at the time when Kim and Melanie weren't speaking.
Understood.
But Bill was friends with both of them. So he's trying to get them
Bill
both.
Decided he'd be Melanie, and he would make them speak through him.
So then again, there you have the them pronoun. I think it's better them than they, because they mean something in particular, but them is just a collection of people that, like you're talking about the face scrambler. Yeah, I've never known anyone in my life who can compartmentalize their existence as so many little cubes ever in my life. And I knew Bill probably longer than any person I've known so far. And like I said, there's still big, giant pieces missing. And
We were gonna.
the live performance thing was, yeah, Bill as a live performer. It was. I don't know. It was
If
a
you
weird
didn't know
trip.
him, it would be different than if you did know him. First of all,
Yes.
right?
So it was yet another personality that, like, who's
Yeah,
that clown?
that's a third one, like the third eye.
Yes.
Bill as the third eye.
Excuse me
Another
for one.
reference. But Bill, you know, he every little move he made was a tribute or a fuck you to something or someone, which was always like that with him, with everything, you know. And am I alone?
No, you're here.
We're dead. Okay.
Yeah.
And you know, like he had like a spinning guitar strap, and he had like he had Paul Stanley's Iceman in his closet, which was one of the things I wanted to tell his family. You know,
The broken guitar.
yeah, but it's still worth tons of money. But they would see it as a broken guitar and throw it out. You know what I mean?
That still haunts you to this day.
Very much so. As a collecting nightmare human.
So you actually don't know what happened to Paul's broken guitar?
No.
It's still
Bill had a few of
ties
them.
were cut.
Because Bill went to so many Kiss shows, and he got bodies, guitar necks from many different shows. He had a couple of complete guitars made from various bodies and necks.
Another them.
them guitar.
Them guitars.
The only guitar I have of Paul's is this one right here. So it's
Oh wow! Wait, is that
it's a plush.
plushie?
So I would much rather have the one that's probably still sitting in Bill's closet if it didn't get thrown in a dumpster. And God,
There's no more. Bill's closet is wide open now.
Yeah, who knows?
And there's all of that. You know, Bill told me that he wound up posing for a Christmas card for Tom of Finland himself.
I heard that too, but I never saw anything.
But if you really look at Bill, like teenage Bill, like his profile or his face, he has that exact Tom of Finland face. He doesn't have the body.
Yeah, he definitely manufactured that look. That was like, he was the first like Tom of Finland kid to be hanging out at Black Flag shows. He would just baffle people with that image, the leather image.
Yeah, but his face really, it's very, very similar. Like Tom of Finland as an artist, and you know, he was, when we were kids, Tom of Finland was 60, probably 60 or however old. He was very old, you know. He'd been doing that since the 40s, so by the 80s, he was, you know, probably 60 years old. How old we are now? I am now. And ouch. And you know, it's got to be true. And I know someone at the Tom of Finland Foundation, and I'm going to go take a look, try and figure this one out.
Yeah, that's unsolved.
They have everything there. And oh man, Lord only knows. But there's a lot of that weird, you know, like the Trump cop on the white flag page, you know. Which is funny that he took it upon himself to plop himself publicly onto there to be known. That guy, you know. That wasn't like a private message. That was a message to the world.
So you're referring to a post that's on the white flag page?
Yeah,
I told you about
former
that
sergeant.
Yeah. I mean, that guy's scary.
You don't know him, Howie. He could be great.
We talked about how scary he was.
Maybe.
If he's not scary, then he wants to give off scary vibe.
Yeah. Well, I know that Bill hated Trump more than anything. Even before he died, before the Trump era, he hated. I guess it was during the birther movement that we would go on long rants about Trump.
Well, you know, he was in New York enough. Yeah, he was in New York enough to know, like anyone who's from New York hates Trump because he's a piece of shit, just as a landlord and as a New York face. You know, no one ever liked him. You know what I mean? So that the fact, you know, Bill is part of that mentality because he was in New York so much. You know, you couldn't avoid it in the newspapers and wherever. He was just
how can you be such a hyper liberal and be a cop in like an extremely conservative town?
That's what they do.
There you go. That's just like more mystery.
Yeah, he definitely seems like a mystery to me for sure. And how you were mentioning how everything or a lot of stuff that Bill did maybe had cultural connections, right? Or connections to different things. And it made me think of the Tater Tots record.
Right.
So, I mean, you look
at Linda. That was, I mean, the Tater Tots were put together basically to kind of hold Linda and Yoko up to like to the level that they should be recognized. Like we all worship both Linda McCartney and Yoko tremendously.
But mainly Yoko.
But Linda too, because I mean, when I saw Paul McCartney, that's another Bill Bartell thing. When I went to, we saw Paul McCartney play at Amoeba Records, and of course Bill was shouting out. He's shouting out, "Cook of the House, Cook of the House," which is an obscure Linda song.
But of course, he did that Linda. Just to upset Paul. He didn't do that because he loved Linda.
Oh, he loved Linda. But but no, Paul gave him, you know, the total thumbs up.
Yeah, all right.
So that was weird.
He knows how to get rid of them. But you know, it was all about Yoko. It always was about Yoko. And Tuesday is another person. Oh my God, where is she?
She exists.
I get little things from her, but I always forget her real name, so I never know. She is so crazy.
Morgan.
Yeah, but with some weird Italian long, like Di Silvestrioni or something. Like,
yeah.
But I still have. She once sent me a box of Jell-O in the mail with my address on the outside of the box, so not wrapped up or anything, just a box of Jell-O.
With stamps on it.
Yeah, on the Jell-O box.
Oh my God.
So was she a friend of Bill's?
Yeah.
She's the friend of all of us.
Yeah, she's the face Yoko planter. But she's also the person who was Yoko in the Tater Tots with the paper mask. Mainly.
Yeah, she performed as Yoko as well.
Yeah. But
so that Tater Tots thing just got so out of control that basically it manifested Yoko. Yoko wrote like a note like, "Oh, Tater Tots, great." I was like, you know, I forget what she said, but there was like some Yoko thank you card about how she really enjoyed the Tater Tots.
Yeah, and there was who just told this story? Was it on the last podcast? Did someone tell the story about the private messaging with Sean?
Yes, I think it was.
And Bill's instead of a ding, Bill's sound on private messenger was a woman screaming.
Oh.
And Sean, every time Bill sent Sean a response, it made that sound. And then Yoko called Sean into the kitchen and told him, "What is that horrible thing?" And then Sean went back and told Bill, you know, Mom wants you to turn that off. She can't stand hearing this horrible woman screaming sound. Which is one of the funniest sentences ever spoken on Earth.
Hilarious. But how crazy it is for you guys, Jeff, in this Tater Tots project, and it gets back to Yoko. That must be mind-blowing.
Yeah, because you never know. I mean, you never imagine that anything like that is going to reach people like Yoko. But I think what happened was Sean was starting to come of age and was kind of experimenting with underground music, and he somehow found the record and became a fan. So that's how he was.
But we also met Sean somewhere, I can't remember where, through was it around the Germs movie with what's her name was in the movie, and
Bijou.
Bijou. So I think that was the connection.
Right.
And then we met Sean. I was with Bill when he met him. It's just like, oh my God. But Sean always remembered.
Sean liked him.
You know, and he remembered me. Like, he has a good memory. So, but Yoko did like it, and she did get it.
Yeah.
But see, these are the Bill milestones. Bill made milestones that were impossible to achieve, and then he achieved them, and then he had to beat them, and that was his life.
Yeah, kind of like an alcoholic. One drink is never enough.
And 1,000 Yokos is too many on Nikki Sixx's lawn.
It sounds to me like, not to be existential, but it sounds to me like
please.
Bill had this energy about him or something that made things happen, or
very manic, like a mania. Like if something got in there, it was an obsession that did not leave at all until, like Howie had said, until all these little milestones were achieved.
But he also, but literal manic, like he would, you know, he stuttered, and not because he stuttered because he couldn't speak fast enough for his mind to pump out the thoughts. Like, his mouth couldn't keep up with his head. His head was going so fast. I don't know if they put him on Ritalin or something, you know, like, or, you know, Bill, in all of this, Bill never ever drank or took any drug ever until at the end, his whole life.
Yeah, I mean, all of his friends were going through their dark junkie period, and like, and he was like straight as clean as a whistle.
Yeah,
and a cop.
That part of me, well, both of them.
And a stalker.
It was all just organic to who he was. There was
he was just very, very smart, very kind of born into the wrong family, into the wrong town, I think, you know. I mean, he was like a Dookie Howser. I think he graduated from college when he was 16 or 15 or something insane like that. Just really bright, but nowhere to put it until, you know, he met other freaks. But he would also let all the freak friends do the more dangerous fun. And he'd live vicariously through them.
Well,
so he wouldn't have to be crazy.
Not to say that we're smart, but, you know, a lot of our friends weren't smart enough for Bill. I didn't get his thing, you know what I mean?
They just saw the annoying gene.
So me and Jeff and others, most of the people that you are speaking to are the people who did get that stuff, and that's why they got it so involved, you know. It's just like but, you know, Bill was almost veering towards the other people so he could just shred them and make fun of them without them knowing it, and then laugh at them without them knowing it, except they kind of had a feeling they were being had, but they had no idea what the fuck he was talking about, because they just couldn't put it together. Which is the best way to make fun of people, you know what I mean? Just hint that you're making fun of them and then just go on and on and on and leave them in the dust, you know, of stupidity.
But it sounds like he would make fun of people that he admired.
Yeah,
well,
very
I'm
much
not
so.
talking. I'm talking.
That's how he
friends.
got in there with them a lot of times. Like people like Kiss and Gene Simmons. Like he knew so much minute detail about Gene Simmons that if he was ever to cross him in a social situation, it would just blow his mind with just dropping weird, you know,
Feeding his ego. Yeah.
tidbits.
But I'm not talking about. There's as far as they go, there's different, again, segments. There's the famous people that he was trying to annoy, but I was talking about friends before, which is a whole nother thing. I mean, he tried to annoy everybody, that's for sure, and did annoy everybody. But he
but yeah, he's a full-on, I mean, I don't know, you would call him bipolar, but you would definitely say
definitely manic.
Definitely, yeah, who would have fits of total mania and drag you down with it, because you'd wonder, why have I talked to Bill for 2 days in a row until dawn on the telephone? You know, it's like absurd that you just kind of get pulled into this nonsense. Yeah,
and he also drank at least a gallon of Diet Coke a day, which is what a lot of us think may have killed him. For real.
Honestly?
Yeah.
Yeah, some people think
giant, like 2 of those biggest bottles.
Oh, the liter bottles? The
2 liter.
2 liter bottles.
Yeah.
Wow. So do you guys feel like you really knew Bill?
No, not high.
Only in the last year or two did he, with me at least, let down a lot of the curtains, and I found out, you know, certain things that, and they're boring. So he had his heart broken.
Yeah.
Big deal. So did everybody. But for him, it was the only time it ever happened. And he didn't feel like it was pertinent enough to share that kind of information because it wasn't funny or interesting. And, you know, but he kept all the pain inside, which is also very unhealthy, you know.
Yeah, you couldn't even drag it. Even if you suspected it, you couldn't really drag it out of him. Most of it.
No, until I think he knew he was going, and he started to tell out of nowhere, because I surely gave up asking, but he started to tell me all this stuff, which I wish I could remember. A lot of it.
Oh my God.
I didn't remember some of it, but you know, like I'm really bad with stuff like that.
The main thing to me is that he actually opened up to you, Howie. That's, to me, that is something that it says a lot about who he was, because he was this person that you guys interacted with in all these strange, with all these
decades,
right? And then at the tail end of his life, there was this period of time when he felt
he wanted you to know. Yeah. Well, I think Dave Martin said something similar, and I know that he also did that with Jeff a bit.
Yeah, I mean, he would open like certain aspects of his life to certain people he felt he was comfortable with whatever that bit of, like how he said, nonsense was. I mean, it was just like the things that bothered him were not big, huge deals. His actual crazy life was way more intense than what his secret existence was, whatever that was.
Maybe.
I don't know, but
the reason he never told anyone is because he did not want this to happen right here and now.
And that's why we still have certain things we cannot.
I totally respect that. Yeah, I totally.
Okay,
you know, this was his Pat's biggest fear was was this conversation in public.
He's wanted people to talk about him no matter what, at any cost.
But except for except for this subject right now, the secret
What
subject.
subject? Oh, any secret subject.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what did
So, you know, the
what
private.
did Marky want to call his documentary? I think he said The Secret Life or Lives of Bill Bartell. If he would ever make
What he did was secret.
Yeah, that's why the Darby Crash connection.
You know, but there's so much more.
So is there anything that happened in your guys' life that will always be the one thing that you remember about Bill? Or the one
Oh, for me, it was like seeing him in action at the Kiss. I'd never seen him torture and Kiss at the Kiss the press conference. I'd never even hung out with him before, so I'd never seen anyone do that kind of like torture the people that they love that way. It was insane. I didn't even understand it at the time.
And you were sitting right next to Bill, Jeff, at the time?
Oh yeah. Like, why is he asking them those questions? I mean, it was the first time I'd ever experienced anyone being that mischievous, I think.
Love it.
And that's coming from me, who's well known for being a very mischievous person.
Seriously.
What about you, Howie? Is there anything that
the whole thing? I mean, I don't know. This, you know, there's too many things. The Osmatachi's thing, you know, the far-reaching, long-lasting, serious miracles that he performed were pretty crazy. And probably after I'm listening, so many of the messages on my answering machine tapes seem to be from him that I'm gonna probably remember a lot more. In the
yeah, you have to go through those.
But I, you know, not to be a bummer, but that last thing of that kid and the fact that they died on the same day is the most mind-numbingly and
the weird role reversal, bizarro,
Inside Out,
back in time, Inside Out,
forward in time, yeah. But like, also my childhood friend, the drummer of my first band, died that day. So I was DJing the night before at the Ace Hotel, and everyone was dying, one after the other. And I can't, who was the one who called? Was it EFH? Who called, who got a hold of who's the one who found out that Bill passed away?
I did.
You did?
Yeah.
But
and I don't even remember. I called a couple of people. I don't remember how I even found out.
Well, there was a what would you call this, Jeff? Like a group of people by that point that would search for Bill when he disappeared.
Oh yeah, for a couple of days.
Things started happening where like he would claim that he fell in his driveway and his face was like smashed in and he's in the hospital. And
illness that he would be in the hospital, but he would never have a cell phone, so we'd always have to try to find him if we didn't hear from him in like at least in a week's time.
So like all the phone calls were going around with Jennifer and Jeff and me and I don't know why I thought EFH may have called me or somebody. I can't remember. But it was like one. Yeah, do you know who EFH is?
I don't know who that
Jeffrey.
is.
Oh,
it's Eric from Hull.
That's hilarious.
I'm sure Bill made that up.
I think he did.
Yeah. You know, I just got one phone call after the other. I woke up and everyone's dying. Like, and I was in shock already by the first phone call. By the second phone call, I was completely numb and staring at the wall. And by the third phone call, I just didn't think I could drive home from Palm Springs. I just sat there and I called the front desk, and I mean, I'd been DJing there for years and years and years. So I was just like, look, I can't, I'm staying an extra day. I can't go anywhere. That was really, I don't want to remember bad though. I don't want to, but that is such a bizarre miracle. And then I went online to see, you know, what was being said on Facebook or whatever, and it said that Justin changed his profile photo the night before, and I looked at it and I was just like, oh God, you know. And again, he only met Bill that one day ever that I know of. You never know, I guess, but with Bill. But you know, the Bill's hysteria is something I will always remember, like at great moments of impossibility coming true before his eyes.
Yeah, the enthusiasm was hysterical.
Yeah,
and it's hard to kind of muster that, you know.
And you can look at photos now and you could, he's so, like, his eyes are bulging, he's so sweaty that you could see his head through his hair. He's so soaking wet from sweat, you know, like, and he's just, you know, like peaking on acid.
Right.
Always.
Naturally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But totally sober, totally clean.
Totally.
Hence.
Weird, I know, and it's only only the tip of the iceberg.
This is not even where I thought this would go. You know, like I thought it would be a whole nother conversation. You know, like this is like just not even the tip of the iceberg. You know, this is nothing.
So Soraya, it sounds like we need to learn a lot more.
Yep.
Yes.
You do.
I mean, every time we speak to somebody about Bill Bartell, it just gets more complicated. Like,
Oh,
you
don't
should
think that's gonna stop.
Find the people did the police, like other people that he worked with at the police force. That's one area that could be very interesting to explore.
Yeah, and I'm close. I live in the Inland Empire, so that's
There you go.
It's not far for me to take a drive up to Banning, over to Banning.
Right, the Banning Beaumont.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh.
Please.
Wow,
What do you
wow,
guys
that what's that?
What's the picture?
A real photo of Bill in the police force.
Yeah, I just saw that for the first time. That is insane.
See, that looks like a Halloween picture, but it's actually
It was like
it's cops in the donut shop, Jeff. What else do you want?
And
that was my Yum Yum Donuts.
Yeah, how can I flip the picture around? Oh, there, okay. Hang on. This is my refrigerator.
Oh, the Christmas.
Oh yeah, that's a great shot. It's all
It's
chest.
so weird that what's underneath it is so strange. You are under arrest.
wow.
Oh my God! But just look.
Look at this photo.
I mean,
I
everything about it is wrong.
Which makes it so right.
Exactly.
Yeah. I know, but Bill's head is about right up level with Paul's
nipple.
breast.
He's ready to drink from the fountain of kiss.
Also at the breast. Yes.
His breast, this is.
There you go.
You guys, I have got like 2% more battery on my phone. So if I just drop out, that's what's happening with me.
Well,
we
wanted to let you go. Thank you guys for spending so much time with us. Again,
how long was this?
Almost an hour and a half.
Oh my God, that's what my phone. I'm like thinking this battery's dying quickly. Okay,
Yeah.
makes sense.
But
Well, good luck, and definitely go check out the Banning Beaumont police station. Let us know if what you find out. That'll be very interesting.
I'm totally gonna do that. I'm totally
Yeah.
Right on.
Can you tell by the
Well,
photo which station it is or whatever by a patch on their arm or something?
Banning. I
Yeah.
think it was Banning police. Banning Beaumont. It's a
Yeah.
hyphen. I'm not sure.
Yeah. They're both connected right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but listen,
All
Okay,
right.
guys, I'm
Thank
gonna
you.
go. It was so great to hang out with you. Bye. Oh,
Bye. Thank you so much.
I'll talk to you
thank
later.
you. Bye.
Bye.
All right, Howie. Thank you for making this happen. Thank you for all your stories. With
I like it.
Hey, hold on.
Did that come
There
out
you go.
backwards?
No, it
Was
came
that
out.
backwards?
It came out perfect. No sense.
Oh, okay.
wait, let me see. I want to see that.
When I see it, it's backwards.
Yeah, but we see it fine. I love it.
Nice.
And Howie, please know that our door is open anytime you want to share more. I mean, you and Jeff gave us more information, but whew, literally knock on the door. I mean,
I did not. I really thought that was going to be a whole thing altogether. I thought it was going to be. That's what's so amazing about why I insisted on pairing people up. Because it creates a mixture that brings up stuff you would never think of on your own.
Yeah, so that's one of the reasons why we like the panel idea is friends bouncing things off of each other, whereas on a one-on-one, it's a little bit different, right? It's a totally different vibe. And it seems like with a panel situation, like friends spark ideas off of each other or memories.
But then if there's too many, even with me and Jeff, there's two, if you have more than 2 or 3 people, then you won't hear anything and you'll lose half the stories, and everyone's jumping into everyone else's story because they also have something insane to say and they're going to forget it if they don't scream it out at that moment. So you gotta really, as someone who's been doing this forever, you gotta keep it to a small amount of people so that the words can be heard,
Howie, I don't know, one of these days you're going to have to let us, or you're going to have to take us on a tour of some of your memorabilia and stuff, because that fridge alone had fun stuff. And I can only imagine 30,000 pieces of music and boxes with Bill and Ha. I mean, there's a lot of stuff.
Forget that. That's nothing compared. This is the actual ashtray that Andy Warhol got the banana from.
What?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Howie's house is, oh my God. Yeah, there's,
I mean,
whenever you want to do a little walk through, please let us know.
Look at that.
Incredible.
And then there's a record room, and
Soraya, I totally recommend you check out Howie Pyro's Sick World on YouTube. There's a few episodes that are
oh yeah, that was an experiment.
So with Howie's got a collection of horror comics that you gotta check out.
Not even, well, you can just watch it and see, but this just goes on and on and on forever and ever and ever.
And then my interest was piqued when he talked about the Born Innocent poster he just got, but
I don't know where it is.
I'm not even gonna ask you.
But
that ashtray was pretty.
Here's a room.
Wow.
Here is a room just chock full of nuts.
Wow. Ooh, look at that.
Um, low battery. Okay.
Okay, then we're gonna let you get it back to it.
I have so many Howie Pyro
I'm so
questions.
intrigued.
I have so many questions.
Look at that.
Another time, I think, Jeff.
Yeah.
My gosh.
Yeah. So we wanted to focus today on Bill's life, Howie, but I want to know a lot about your life. I mean, I saw the pictures of you with Genesis Peorage, and that Dreams Less Sweet album that Psychic TV did, easily in my top 10, top 100 of all time.
He did this himself.
Oh, whoa.
He did
And there's only 2 people he ever tattooed. It's hard to see right in this.
yeah.
Oh, there you go. You
Dang.
can see his name and the
Uh-huh.
little tree that he draws next to his name, and the psychic cross, which was perfect. And then and the 23 underneath. And then he asked if he could make purple and yellow lines coming out of the psychic cross, and then he ruined it. But I'll never change it though.
So did he do the actual tattooing, or he drew on there and then had it tattooed?
The actual tattoo.
Oh, wow.
And all the pictures are lost.
One of 2.
But I do have pictures of the later in that day of me and him. He was him still, holding was me and him up in a Polaroid, holding a Polaroid of the picture or whatever of me getting tattooed or something.
Wow.
But yeah, this is what I have to say.
Yes, there you go. I don't think there's any more fitting end. How you're amazing. Thank you so much for all your time. Super generous.
Okay. There's some stuff we can talk about later, but now that I'm losing battery, but I'll tell you later. There's a couple of things to let you know about whatever.
Perfect.
I can't speak.
And we'd love to have you back on to talk about your life, if you wouldn't mind coming back on and joining us just as a single guest.
Sure.
All right, Howie. Thank you.
That earthquake that happened here seemed to have been centered in my house. And my whole front porch caved in, and a whole bunch of... I keep finding things all over the floor that have fallen. But yeah, I guess I'll see you on the Facebook message thingy.
All right.
For sure.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Charge up your phone.
Have a good day.
What do you think, Soraya? How come I feel the more we talk about Bill Bartell, the more we need to know? I was thinking we're gonna wrap this up. We're gonna know everything about Bill Bartell.
Jeff said it. Jeff McDonald said it. He told he shared parts of his life with different people, but there was never one entire story. People knew pieces. And I think that's why it really becomes this kind of multi-layered thing. Can we just stop for a second and recognize the following? We sat down with Jeff McDonald and Howie Pyro.
Wow.
To talk about Bill Bartell. I mean, that's blown me away.
Yeah, if you would have asked me if that would ever happen,
I would have said no.
Yeah.
And I think I even said, "Oh, Jeff, this will never happen." And then, boom, Jeff McDonald and Howie Pyro just told me to my face, no. Don't ever think you know what's happening, because we're going to go this way. But I found them to be really insightful and reflective about, first of all, that Bill was, what was the word they used? They used mania, he would kind of get plugged into one thing and boom, that was the focus. And man, the guy was dogged in his pursuit of the things that he loved. You know, if it was Os Mutantes, if it was Shonen Knife, if it was the Shags, it was like boom, 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 boom. Get it? Okay, next. Yoko Ono. Okay, boom. Hanging out with Yoko Ono eating French fries.
What?
You know, it's just like, what?
Yeah. Who does that? Bill Bartell.
Or like Bill Bartell, getting Jeff McDonald's folks number, calling the house and having multi-hour conversations about music and whatever with Jeff, and then taking him and his friends to go to a release for Kiss.
Press release, right.
You know, what was that?
Creatures of the Night.
Creatures of the Night. And then Bill Bartell, who's an ultimate Kiss fan, literally devouring the thing that he loves by yelling out non-softball questions.
Yeah.
I mean, that to me is just like, that's Bill Bartell. It's like, I love it so much, but hey, man, I want to know this, or I'm going to throw this at you and see how you react. And it seemed like when he got an idea, he went with it. When he got an idea, he went with it, riding the bull, being a cop, being a musician, looking for this, looking for that. And yet, what did Howie just tell us? That's the tip of the iceberg. We still don't know.
Yeah.
We can't wrap this up. I think it's going to be just a discussion that is just continued, you know?
Yeah.
TBA.
So we're gonna have the Paisley Underground discussion here, and we're gonna have the Bill Bartell discussion here. So
there you go. Wow. And look, and in 90 minutes, how much further did we get? We just added a few layers.
Yes. Yeah.
Pretty dang cool.
But I like that we did add to our.
Yes, I agree.
Our understanding. Yeah.
I agree. And they were both very, very generous with all their time. Look, we almost ate through both of their batteries.
Yeah.
To get through this. So we can't thank Howie Pyro and Jeff McDonald enough. But
yes. And thank you for Howie for making this happen.
Amazing. Gente a rubiar.
Groove on, Paisley people.